Welcome to the Redvee TV show, supported by Chapel House Cars. For the 2024 season, we are drawing to a close. It is the bleak midwinter, Kevin. There is no news coming out of the club, so we opened up the questions to the fans to give us something to discuss, a little bit of filler, and hopefully a bit of fun and a bit of a laugh.
Yeah, why not? Let's see what people have asked, eh?
Right, straight into it then. We haven't rehearsed this. I've literally just laid them all out. If you ask the question, I think it's being asked. So we will crack
Excellent.
on. Donna, with the first question. Do you think we've recruited well in the off-season? Where will we finish? Players to watch? And do you expect to change your style? Four questions in one, Kevin.
Excellent. Good stuff, Don. A good start. Do I think St. Helens have recruited well? I think the start of recruitment is good. I think Kyle Feltz promises to be a good signing, good NRL pedigree. Tristan Saylor, I don't think he's not played much NRL, so he's an exciting one because of his speed. Same with Lewis Murphy. But I do think we're a little bit short. I think we're a bit short in the centres, definitely.
Where will we finish?
Third or fourth.
Yeah, I think success next season for us is top four
Yeah,
and in the mix for one of the trophies.
yeah. I wouldn't disagree with that.
Do I expect a change of style with Breers coming in? Well, I hope so. Otherwise, that's not been a good recruitment change, has he? In the coaching staff? No, I think he transformed Wigan when he went there, didn't he?
Yeah, I think bringing in Eamon O'Carroll and Lee Breers, obviously we should expect something slightly different. Um, I'd probably not get carried away in the first kind of 6 rounds or so if we don't see massive changes. I think that they need time to implement their style. Hopefully, we do see it quicker. But I'm not going to be kind of throwing the baby out with the bathwater if we don't see everything change all at once. Play to watch as well. You got one?
Noah Stevens.
um,
I just think he's in for a
I
much. I think he's in for an expanded role this season. And for me, he should be pushing to be in the 17 each week.
yeah, yeah. I think youngster wise, Noah would be mine. I think play to watch of the new signings. Everybody's excited to see where Tristan Saylor plays and how he does for us. And if you're going for an established one, who I think I'd love to see get a full season under his belt, no injury problems, Jake Wingfield, because I thought he started last season brilliantly, and just unfortunately the injuries hit him.
Okay, tactical questions. Why don't Saints kick more than 15 metres up the field when we have a penalty? I'm half laughing when I read that because I guarantee that's what we stand on the terraces saying every single time. Philip, I genuinely don't get it. I don't get in rugby league why you don't have whoever's kicking for touch knowing exactly what their range is that they would hit 100% of the time. So if that was 30 meters, why not kick it 30 meters every time, knowing that you're always going to find touch for it?
Yeah, I think a theory was, and I'm going to say was, and stress was, that we did it quickly. So they didn't really have time to set the defensive line and we could go. But over the past couple of years, we've seen that kind of drop off, really. So, yeah, agreed. We should be looking at getting longer, make them meters easier for our forwards, backs, whoever's carrying the ball, make them easier for them. Agreed.
That is a question. If we ever speak to any coaching staff from any club, we need to ask that question because we're not the only club, are we? The
Agreed.
majority are the same, unless you've got Mark Sneed who just toe bungs it. No one else does it.
Harsh on Marks need saying he toe bungs it, but leathers is what I'm going to say.
Okay, right. On the fifth tackle, why do teams choose to be tackled with the ball as if they simply dropped it on their foot and let the opposition pick it up? Hang on, I can't see the bottom of the question. It'd be a tackle one, not zero tackle.
Um, I'm gonna guess control.
Risk,
If
yeah.
you kick it,
Stopping
yeah,
the return.
yeah, stopping the return, stopping putting too much of a foot on it, and putting it out for a seven tackle set. I'd guess that is something along them lines. I get the theory behind it, but yeah, it probably is risk and reward. What do you do, especially when you look at, say, I mean, the places with the small in goal areas like Old Trafford. Saints have come out and said we try not to put as many kicks in because the ball will just run dead and you're facing a seven tackle set.
Do you know what? That's actually a really good question. That it's something that I've never ever considered.
Yeah, that's it. You know what? That is a cracking couple of questions there from Philip.
And if we start doing it next season, we're going to call it the Philip.
Yeah, good plan.
Right. Next up, Ryan McNally. Are we lacking an impact prop who can scatter defenders? Yes. And with that in mind, would you consider reducing Walmsley's minutes to see if he could do that role? Father Time's catching up with him, and he isn't as effective going forward as he was. I think that comes with age. You're right. I think injuries
Yeah,
have contributed massively to that, and he needs a really big pre-season. Um, could he be that impact player? He could be, but I think that would leave us light if we
yeah.
did.
I think I think he's got to start. I think he's got to A, experience, and B, as you say, we can be a little bit samey sometimes. I do think, and it's no offence to these lads, Matty Lees and George Delaney are fast, mobile props, battering rams rather than at least Alex tries to get his hands free when it goes at the end of last season. I think he was trying too hard with that. Consider, are we lacking an impact prop? Yes. Need to see more, and hopefully with a full pre-season, we'll see a bit more from Iggy. He's also playing for a contract, so we might see a bit more from him. I think Noah Stevens is possibly the closest thing we've got to an impact prop who takes defenders with him rather than scatters them, and can make good meters with them hanging off him. Would I consider reducing Alex Walmsley's minutes? Yes, I would, and it's to prolong his season. So we're not hammering him for 35, 40 minutes in a first half, giving him a little bit of a break and then coming on. You've got to bring your young lads through, whether that be Jake Wingfield, whether it be Noah Stevens, and give them longer on the field where you can. And kind of look after Alex a little bit more. Yeah, and uh, yeah, I think Ryan's right there. Father Time does catch up with all of us. And I think that, again, with these injuries, he'll be better, hopefully, for a full pre-season.
And for that reason, Kev, not a chance I would be renewing Iggy at the end of next season. Unless he has some sort of barnstorming year and you want to give him 12 months. He'll be 34. And if, I think that's, with him being an overseas player, that's the time to part ways. But we will discuss that on the player previews in the new year.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair.
Oh, it's Ryan again. He's back. Will we be more entertaining? And will crowds be down due to the boring brand of rugby witnessed last season? Um, will we be more entertaining? I'd like to hope so. Or I think so, because I think everyone recognised that we weren't as free flowing as we were. Will crowds be down to the boring brand of rugby? Well, if fans don't turn up because of one poor year after the donkey's years of success we've had as a club, I think it says more about them than the club.
I think if crowds are down, it's going to be due to games being on the telly, so you don't have to go. I think it may be down to people's personal situations, financial situations, because you look at kind of what we're trying to do. And I think if we'd have kept the same kind of staff outlook, maybe not invested into Tristan Saylor, into Lewis Murphy, brought young lads through, then yeah, I could have seen crowds being down. There may well be a drop off anyway. I'm not entirely sure it'll be down to the boring brand of rugby. It might be. Some people might vote with their feet. It's fair enough. But yeah, I think it may be more to do with other reasons, people's personal situations, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And do you know what, Kev? We've had these conversations in the past, haven't we? People's personal situations are what they are, and
yeah,
there might well always be good reasons not to attend or competing things going on. But if you're basing your decision on going to Saints or not, based on whether you were entertained or you were bored last season alone, that's for me is absolutely, I don't know, it's just not in my psyche. Listen, I've had 30 odd years of watching Everton play absolutely awful football with no prospect of it getting any better, but I still go. It's just if you're a fan of your club, you follow them through thick and thin.
yeah. I think that's sport. I think as well the immediacy of social media. I mean, we're immediate on social media after a game, during a game, doing updates and whatever. People want success straight away, and people want us to be playing the best brand of rugby ever, and it just doesn't happen. Yeah, it's a tough one because I'm not going to call people for not going because people might have different reasons. Their life might have changed. They might have a new job. It could be
To
anything.
be fair, Kev, I'm
So
I'm basing it purely on if you choose not to go because you were bored last season.
yeah, that's and
You
listen,
don't
that's
you don't
sports.
you don't pay double when we're winning trophies.
Yeah, it's sport, isn't it? I've seen Burnley in League One. I've seen Burnley in the Championship as we currently are, bobbling about round the bottom of the Championship. It's not great, but you still stick with them. And people will say, listen, they're sticking with us by watching us on telly, still buying merchandise. Great. If you're able to invest, whether it's your time or your money in the club, fantastic and good on you.
We do have an element of keyboard warriors who doesn't matter what Saints do, they still wouldn't go. There's always a reason not to. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Oh, Ryan again.
Hey, fair play to him. He's heeded the call. Good on you, Ryan.
Heed the call. That's an NFL podcast. We should have had him. Should have just got Ryan on. Right.
Yeah, we should have.
Do we lack a good field kicker in Neil Harry Smith? Yes. And who do you think could
Yeah,
take that role on? There's the issue.
right. I'll go back. Surely we won't be doing the same kick that got Dodd crucified by the fans, and we'll be mixing it up a bit, right? I'll go back to a point that I've made a couple of times. Um, Lewis Dodd's box kick into the corner was done before him by Danny Richardson, was done before him by Theo Farge. We played that percentage play. We can't do that anymore. Teams have found that out. There's still room for it, and people will still be mourning it, but there is room for that. We don't have a good field kicker for me in the ilk of Harry Smith. I almost think the most natural one at the club is our reserve hooker, Moses. I feel like he's the one in game who is probably most comfortable doing it. And I might be doing Johnny a disservice there, I might be doing Tristan a disservice there. But I want to see more from whoever's playing fullback as well, kicking. I know we laughed at it, well, I did, when Christian Wolf mentioned about Lachlan Coote's left foot kicking game when he was coming over, and he mentioned it in almost every interview. You think about how many times that got us out of strife because we had another option. So if it's Jack Wellsby at fullback, you need to be putting your boot through the ball. Don't worry if a couple go out dead. You don't seem to have done it over the past couple of years. You need to just join in that aspect and bring that facet of your game to Super League.
It's Philip. He's back. Now he's being serious. I thought his others were quite serious. But anyway, is winning one of three pieces of silverware next season a successful season? One of two pieces of silverware. It's Challenge Cup or Super League champions. I don't hold any credits to the League Leaders Shield, really. Do you?
Oh, okay. Let me kind of rephrase it. Is finishing top of the league next year a successful for Saints?
Not if we don't win
The grand final.
the grand final.
Okay. Well, there's kind of a different way of phrasing what Phillips put there. I would say that finishing top is definitely a successful season if you compare it to last year. But I think if you win the Challenge Cup and finish fifth, don't really do anything in the playoffs, I think that you can still claim that to be a successful season.
I would take Challenge Cup and not winning the grand final, but and not finishing top over League Leaders Shield and not winning anything else.
When anything else, yeah,
I just genuinely, I don't think I could go back and tell you over the last 15, 20 years when we finished top of the league.
yeah, okay.
I could tell you every grand final we've won
Hmm.
because at the end of the day, they're the rules we play by. That's what decides who's champions.
Yeah,
We mocked it as a hubcap when we don't win it, and I'll mock it as a hubcap when we do.
be
Would
consistent.
it's if we finished top and didn't win the grand final, yes, it's an improvement on last season on field, but ultimately it's
It,
not a successful one.
it's more successful than last year, though. But do you, I think
In that
because
case, then Warrington were more successful than the year before. Brilliant. They still won nothing.
yeah, but
Let's not turn into
if you
them.
but if you finish top, you still win something. I know you're deriding it, and I know we do, but you're still winning something.
Yeah,
Do you
I
see?
don't.
I'm trying to play a little bit of devil's advocate here. I
Yeah,
think that
sure.
finishing top next year is more successful than this year, but based on our history, it's still not a successful year if we don't win the grand final.
Right,
Anyway,
Joe Coy. Should we and the game in general not play more games on the Monday on the bank holiday weekends and have the women's or academy game played before the first team? I would like to see more curtain raisers, and like if you could have one every week to get people in the ground early and set it up, even if it was like until half 6. If you were in to watch the women or the academy game or the reserve team, and ale was a pound cheaper, you'd get people in the ground, get it a little bit earlier rather than being in town. Do I want to see games on bank holiday Mondays? No, because I've got better things to do in my life.
um, I get his point because I don't think Joe's saying like the old Easter weekend that you do, you play Friday and then back up on a
Yeah.
Monday. I think it's just spreading it out. It's one that is a potential to try, isn't it? And arguably, have you got an audience there that of people who like a game that they could take the kids to? Could be 3 o'clock kickoff.
Well, we have to,
Easy.
the Saturday games now are half 5s. We have got a Sunday game in the calendar, which has been shown not to be as well attended as a Friday night. I almost think for the generation like us, Kevin, our late 30s, um,
I wish.
I wish now as well. Um, I almost think for our generation now, we've all grown up with rugby league being on a Friday night. Generally, if you started going like as a about 6, 7 year old late 90s when Super League came round, Friday night is rugby night, and for me, that's where the game belongs.
Yeah, I think when I started going, it was still Sunday because I used to have to get buses.
Oh,
Yeah, I am older. So it was a Sunday. I used to hate that bus back on a Sunday as well. It felt like it took forever to get there. Anyway, but I get what you mean. I think the generation now and are more in sync with a Friday night and know that it's a Friday night for Saints. And it then, if you can do it, it then opens you up to having your other sporting interests. You with Everton, other people, Liverpool, United, City, whoever they support, can go to that on a Saturday or Sunday.
there's too much.
Um,
There's too much with the way the media's gone now. There is too much competition to be playing the sport over the weekend.
yeah, well, yeah, and I think it kind of shows where the sport is that we've got to try and fit around other sports, haven't we? Because we've dropped like a stone in importance as a game.
And for me, this is where IMG are getting it wrong. Spreading the games out over the weekend, you're catering for some of the armchair fans, but they're not bringing any money into the game unless you say the TV contract. But I don't think you're going to get big viewing figures on a Saturday afternoon at half 5 because the wavering sports fan, if Man United are playing Chelsea at half 5 on a Saturday, you're going to have that on and not the Super League game.
Yeah,
I don't get
that's
it.
fair. I don't
Right.
think it's a bad idea from Joe, but I think I'd like to see other clubs try it and see if it's successful before Saints do it.
You've interviewed many superstars of the game. Meninga,
Yeah.
Wellens? No, we haven't. Sam
We
Tompkins.
have. Yeah, we have. He was in the same one as Tompkins, the Good Friday one.
Oh, yeah, he was. I say I only remember the Wiganers, to name a few. If you could interview one player from another Super League club, would it be the Wigan standoff? Who's he, Smudge? Or someone else?
Oh, successfully winding Wigan fans up with that after Magic weekend.
Brilliant.
Yeah, if I could
Right, Kev,
interview
very
one,
quick one then. Which former Saints player would you like to interview if you could?
I've already done Meninga, haven't I? So Kieran Cunningham.
I'd like to do Jamie Lyon.
Yeah, not fair. Yeah.
Maybe,
So
maybe
one player.
they're the ultimates. Let's get them sorted at some point.
Yeah, if you could interview one player from another Super League club, you'd either go someone who is box office, so Mikey Lewis, Lackland. In fact, Hull KR or Lee, just because it'd get the numbers. If I've got my Redvee viewing figures head on, that'd get the numbers.
John
Or a
Asiata.
pantomime, a pantomime villain like John Asiata or Jake Connor,
Oh,
or
Jake
failing,
Connor. Jake Connor would be excellent. Just
or
because,
failing that.
just because we'd have everybody checking the volume on the telly for the squeaky voice, just to think the speakers had gone. Hello, Kev. My name's Jake Connor.
Hey, he was nice when I met him at Huddersfield. Lovely fella.
Ah, thought he was.
He was. And if not, somebody like Theo Fage, been around, been over here, moved over here as a youngster, been a champion, gone back to France, someone like that.
Okay. Who would you pick as your 17 for the first game with everyone fit? Right, let's see if we disagree. Right, this should be quite easy. This Wellesby, fullback.
Yeah, yeah,
Kyle Feldt on the wing.
yeah.
Lewis Murphy on the other wing.
No,
You'd go John Bennison.
he's done nothing to get dropped, unless Lewis Murphy. I never because I've got to do this with the caveat of not seeing training. Lewis Murphy's the new signing. He's got to force his way into the team.
Okay. Connie and Percy in the centres.
Yep,
Lomax and Saylor in the halves.
yep,
Walmsley and Lees as your starting props.
yeah,
Darryl Clark at 9.
yeah.
Sione at 11.
Who?
Sione. Curtis Cinnamon. Sorry, I'm
Yeah,
just going through. Ah, Joe Batchevy's fit at 12. Morgan Knowles at
yeah,
13.
yeah,
Bench, Moses, Belly,
yeah,
Whitley,
yeah.
and George Delaney. Oh
Too
no,
small.
no, too small. No, Whitley wouldn't be in at the minute. It would be George and Parsi or Noah. I'd imagine Parsi will start the year and Noah needs to be pushing to get it on the bench spot.
And I'll also add Jake Wingfield to that.
Yes. And there's a few big
So
names missed out.
yeah, I think it'd be Delaney, Bell, and By, and I think Parsy's right to start off with. I think that's probably right. If it's mine though, I'd probably go Wingy
Okay.
or Noah, Wingy or Noah rather than Parsy.
Dan Heyman looks like he's turned into Benjamin Button.
that's a Widnes football club badge. That
Is it a mistake playing Sailor at 6 and keeping Wellesby at fullback? I have no idea because I've never seen Tristan Sailor play 80 minutes of rugby league. I don't even think I've even seen more than the highlights Saints put out when we signed him. I've no idea about this lad, except I know he's
right.
well.
First of all right, Dan. Dan's a great lad. I've not spoken to him for ages. Proper nice lad. Yeah, I'm gonna be the same, but I'm gonna say that it wouldn't surprise me to see Sailor at fullback and Wellesby in the halves. It really wouldn't.
Maybe
I know Wells. Say that again.
interchangeable.
Yeah, not. I can almost see us trying to settle Sailor in.
Could you see Harry Robertson getting games at one this year and Saylor and Wellesby being the halves at times if Lomax needs a
Yeah,
break?
wouldn't surprise me. But then you've also got the option of putting them by into the halves with Jake Burns coming in on the bench if you needed to. You could possibly have, don't like it, but the thing of having James Bell or Jake Wingfield who can fill in at nine, loads of options there. I think Harry Robertson will be more likely you're filling in anywhere from 1 to 7 this week when you've got an injury and don't want to change it too much. But yeah, sorry, Dan, because I'm not seeing much of Sailor. It might be pulling up trees in training. I think that it's easier just changing one player than changing a couple.
In regards to Joe Batch, in what position can we get the best out of him? A few years ago, he gave us a threat on the edge. For me, that's where he needs to go back to. He needs to lay off some of the weight we put on him, thinking that we might have to use him as a prop. I don't think we'll ever use him as a prop, or we shouldn't be using him as a prop because we took away his effectiveness. And I think equally, he's going to be another player who's going to benefit from a pre-season. I think we were told he was carrying injuries throughout last season, and he stepped up and put his hand up for the team, and that probably affected him more than we realise.
Yeah, a mate of mine who I trust implicitly said that he was speaking to Batch and Batch had been carrying a knock for a lot of the season. I think still his best position is second row. Arguably, if you've got a little bit of an issue in loose forward, he could do a job there as well. But hopefully, good pre-season over his fitness issues. Yeah, and he's right. Again, we've got 17 who are currently off contract. So there's got to be big seasons for some of these players if they want another deal. They've got to pull the tripod.
That's if they've not signed for other teams before the year kicks off, but that's a different
Yeah,
time.
that's a different argument.
Who'd be first choice starting centre with Percy if Sione had have signed a contract?
Sione. Yeah, I can't see anything else because I think you sign Sione, Connie doesn't get his deal. We've not really been in the market for a homegrown centre, so I think it would have been Sione.
I think we've discussed the one about the different kicking threats we need and thinking outside the box, haven't we?
Yeah, but I think the kicking game, you're right, we just need to mix it up next season. We should have 3 kickers in the team. It should run through. It shouldn't just be all one person's job. And thinking outside the box instead of just doing them little box kicks at corners. Absolutely right.
Who would win in a fight between one giant-sized Dave and 100 tiny Kevs from our good friend Aaron Bauer, the Fresh Prince of Bradford?
Respected journalist Aaron Bauer.
As respected journalist Kevin, I think there's only one thing we can do in this situation. Fight.
And
Who would win?
Well, it depends. Are we talking like Robert Wadlow, who was the world's biggest human being at 8'11", against like the world's smallest human being, whose name was he was about 1'9". What was his name? From Nepal. Can't think of his name. I think it's something like his surname, something like Dangi.
See, if I'm
If
the
it's that,
horse-sized duck, I would be the horse-sized duck, and you'd be the 100 duck-sized horses,
yeah,
and I just trample on you.
but I can attack from all different sides. You're just focused on what's in front of you, and I can just attack you from all different sides.
Kev, are you impressed that if you count the number of Kevs there is exactly 100?
Is that excellent? That's more than anyone ever needs. I'm more impressed that you've used a picture of yourself that Redvee Junior has put a filter on.
Yes, and you know what? It could have been much worse. It could
Yeah,
have been
could
that.
have. Yeah. Excellent.
Do you know what? She
Wonderful.
knew these. This is what Red V Junior does. She takes pictures of me like this and sends them to Kev,
Perfect. It's the perfect crime. Delete that off your phone, but I'm not going to.
and I find them months later when she decides to like show me them now and again. And I'm like, so I did actually say to him before this episode, I went, send me some of them dodgy pictures of me.
Oh, brilliant. Wow.
Look, I finished my tea though.
Yeah, well done. Got a medal. It's probably all
Um,
down your front, to be fair.
listen, I'd take you one on one, Kev. So 100 little Kevs.
Please don't phrase it like that ever again.
Big Dave against little Kev. We'll have to set a poll up.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Do it.
Anyway, to finish, we have gone full Alan Partridge. So, what are your thoughts on the pedestrianisation of Norwich City Centre?
I'll be honest, I'm dead against it. Uh, People forget that traders need access to Dixon's. Also, Duke Silver, I hope he stopped playing his saxophone. There's another reference to a comedy show there as well. Parks and Rec, Ron Swanson's alter ego. Excellent.
Well, this has been a delightful little episode. So, there's only
You know
one way
what?
to end this, Kev.
It, Go on.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Knowing me, Dave Lyon. Knowing you, Kevin Pender. Aha!
Aha!